I think what we understand now with the sort of advances in modern biology is that the aging process is this collection of different biological changes. And we understand what those changes are, and we can even start to take the first tentative steps of doing something about them. And the other thing that we've really come to understand with more recent advances in biology is just how well, we say aging is universal. It's certainly universal within humans. It's basically almost universal within mammals. So, our cats and dogs age, our farm animals age. But actually, there are a handful of creatures in the world which have something called negligible senescence. And that means that they don't have an increased risk of death as they get older. They don't get increasingly frail. They basically stay youthful for an extended period of time before finally just sort of shuffling off their mortal coil almost at random. And these are animals like tortoises. And the reason I said mammals, it's only almost universal. There's actually a mammal as well called a naked mole rat, which is this tiny little wrinkly rodent that can live for up to 30 years and just like that, as I say, doesn't seem to age. These images of sci-fi dystopia, which is just so far from the sort of medical reality we're in here. What we're trying to do is increase the healthy length of life, what scientists sometimes call the health span. And the lifespan will probably increase as a side effect. But the most important thing is that we want to get rid of disease. We don't want to have people who are living to 120 but spending their last 40 years in a nursing home. The critical thing is that aging is responsible for all the biggest killers in the modern world, things like cancer and heart disease and stroke. Even when we look at coronavirus, that is substantially worse when it afflicts someone who's elderly. Someone in their 80s is literally hundreds of times more likely to die of COVID than someone in their 30s if they contract it. And so, what that means is that by understanding the aging process, we can defer all of these diseases by making people effectively biologically younger and therefore more resistant to all these terrible things that happen to us as we age. Single biggest items of health expenditure are looking after old people, basically. The average 80-year-old has 5 different medical diagnoses, and they're taking about the same number of medications in order to treat those diagnoses. Then there's pensions and there's social care. Aging is just phenomenally expensive. So that means that by deferring this process, even by just a few years, we could potentially be saving trillions and trillions of dollars worldwide. A profile investment made by Google in a company called Calico. They started this company. It's the California Life Company. And the idea was that they were going to try and use sort of big data approaches to understand and unravel and potentially, come up with treatments for the aging process. What's really interesting is that a lot of these Silicon Valley approaches, Calico is a really great example. We just don't really know what they're doing. They're such a secretive company. Maybe they're sitting on the elixir of life, but they haven't announced it yet, certainly. So it's just a question of watching and waiting. I think actually a lot of the most exciting stuff at the moment is happening in science labs and in biotech startups rather than necessarily being driven by Silicon Valley, at least at the moment. A week or two ago, it's this idea of injecting young blood to try and rejuvenate the aging body, and this idea that some Silicon Valley tech billionaires have been trying to, make use of that process. However, I think if you drill down into the science is actually, it's more complicated than that. It's not as simple as injecting yourself with the blood of young people, which I guess any young people listening will be glad to hear. But it's also just much more fascinating because by understanding some of the science behind that, where scientists have shown that there are various differences between the blood of old and young mice and various things called hallmarks of aging. And this is based on a 2013 scientific paper of the same name, which actually had 9 hallmarks. I've shuffled things around a little bit for the book. But the idea is that we've got these various underlying biological processes that are responsible for all of the different aspects of aging, from cancer to heart disease to wrinkles and grey hair. And these are things like damage to the DNA, that's the instruction manual inside all of our cells. It can be damage to the cells and molecules inside our body. And then it can be damage to whole systems, which are sort of aggregations of these smaller forms of damage. So things like, reduction in the efficiency of the immune system, which is responsible for everything from, increased risk of coronavirus, as we've all been very familiar with in the last year, to increased risk of things like cancer. So basically, it's a succession of various different causes. And the idea is that by going after each of those causes, we can potentially... It's funny, I actually do like to use the phrase a cure for aging, even though sometimes it raises the hackles of some of my scientific colleagues. And the reason isn't that I think it's going to happen next week. It's not because I think it's going to be a single pill, some lone genius is going to come up with that's going to immediately make us all immortal. But I think it's really important to imagine what a cure for aging might actually look like. And I think your question, puts it very well. It is going to be this iterative process. Maybe if you're lucky enough to be alive when some of these first anti-aging therapies are developed, you might live a few years longer in good health. And that means the scientists who are then, at work during your lifetime have a few years longer to develop the next round of treatments and so on. And so there's going to come a point, perhaps some generation, perhaps our generation, perhaps the next generation, perhaps the generation after that, they're not going to realize that aging has been cured, but they're just going to slowly notice that as medical advances increase, life expectancy is moving faster than, their funeral is approaching, and therefore they're going to live much, much longer in good health. So I do like to talk about a cure for aging, but it's not as simple as this idea of a miracle pill, I think.